How you doing? My name is Mike Grumback. I'm a Skoolie bus owner. Skoolie bus? I'm a Skoolie owner, um, along with my wife. And anyway, I posted a bunch of pictures and comments about these undercarriage storage boxes that I made, and I've gotten a lot of questions about it. So I just thought I'd walk you through what I did. If it's helpful to anybody, disclaimer, I'm not a professional welder or builder. Just like many of you, I just, I got a bus and I'm making it into an ORV, and I look at YouTube videos, and I have a variety of experiences, and I kind of just figured out some way to do this. So it seems to be pretty solid, and a lot of people seem to like it. So, and I've gotten a lot of questions. So I just thought I'd do a review of what it looks like and how I did it, and if it helps you, great. If not, find another way. But this is what I did, and I hope it helps. So anyway, thanks a lot. All right, so this is what the box looks like. Let me close this thing real quick. Close. Close? Yeah, it closed. Okay. So anyway. I've got two of them on each side, and that's kind of what they look like. You can see I added a wall on the bottom, and just some. This is 18 inch or 18 gauge sheet metal, and it kind of goes up to about here. And I put in sets of screws about 4 inches apart. Those are those self-tapping sheet metal screws, and it seems to hold it pretty good. I don't have any glue or anything holding it on. It's just those screws every 4 inches. And then what else? These are just stainless steel piano hinges, and these are held on by rivets. These are solid rivets. These are they're 1/4 of an inch long, and they're 3/16 inch diameter, and I think the heads are about they're 7/8 or 7/16 of an inch wide, and as you can see, there's a ton of them holding in each rivet. I thought I was gonna drill through the solid steel hinges to put the rivets wherever I wanted, but you'll quickly find out that solid steel or stainless steel is a mother. If you want to just drill through it with your average carbide drill bit from Home Depot, that's a big no-go. So there are ways to do it, but for the average DIYer like me, you just want to go with the pre-drilled holes in your hinge. I'll put in the comments all the details about the stuff I bought, so you can look there. What did I do? Okay, so I just went under before I put this box in here, I went underneath the bus, and there are these supports that are riveted on underneath. They're vertical supports, and they're every 2 feet on my bus. It's about maybe 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet. And so I had them all underneath here. So I just decided, how long do I want my box to be? What's the reasonable length? How long were the hinges? And I guess I thought about one big box, but then maybe thought 2 smaller ones would be better. And I have a gray water tank there in the back, in front of the back wheel, and behind the first box there. It's like right there. There's a gray water tank under there. Same on the other side. So you figure out how long you want your boxes, and then you cut out those supports from the back. Just cut them out wherever you need them to make space for your box. And then you have to clean the wall to make sure that there's road grime and stuff, so you have to clean all that off so that you can connect the sheet metal there. And then for these hinges, I just put I had a combination square. No, what I did? I had a one of those miniature not a speed square. It's like a framing square, but it's a smaller one. Not the 3 foot by 2 foot one, but the the small one that's like 1 foot by 8 inches or whatever it is. And I just added some little pieces of cardboard. I kind of taped on there, and then I just put the framing square up against this this bumper guard, rub guard, and I just kind of put my marker on it, and I just kind of pushed it along and made a nice little line. where I thought I needed to put that hinge. I went underneath the bus, and you see what your situation is, and you kind of figure out where the hinge should go. So that was kind of fun. And then yeah, then I just mark it out with a marker, and then I just cut it out with a an angle grinder, and that was my made a little hole there for the hinges. And it's a bit of artwork, and it's a bit scary because I mean, you're cutting into your bus for the first time. If you've never done this, you're like, what the hell am I doing? So anyway, I cut out space for the hinge, threw that in there, and the reason I did that is because I thought that if I just cut out this wall and then tried to add a hinge to it and then put the hinge back on the wall, it just sounded like a complete headache. I mean, if you've ever had to hang a door in a house, you know that you want it's not a perfect thing. There's all sorts of wedges you have to add, and the thing can twist all around. So I just figured I'd add the hinges and then cut out the door, and it's actually worked out really good. I mean, it's square. I love it. So anyway, and then I got my massive building, square, and I kind of tried to use this guard as a reference point and drew a straight line down there. And you can draw a line on a computer, and you can draw a line on the side of your bus, but when you actually have to physically cut something, there's a bit of a gap there. So this one turned out pretty good. It seems pretty straight, and I was really happy with it. I used a really thick angle grinding wheel. I think it's something like 1/4 of an inch or 3/16 of an inch. It's really thick, maybe like 5 millimeters. No. 3 millimeter, yeah, I think it was a 3 millimeter wide angle grinder disc, and I cut out a real thick slot, and then I added in. You can buy this edging, from Amazon or whatever, to dress it up so that you're not actually. It could be sharp metal, just to make it look nicer. I don't know, nicer is a relative word. Anyway, and then I bought these little T handles. I'll put a link to what these things are, but I just thought they looked really pretty, and I put one on either side because this is a bit flimsy. It's not very strong. I mean, normally, like, there was an edge on the bottom of the wall before I cut it out, because this sheet metal comes down and they bend it in to give it more rigidity. But when I added these, I didn't do that. I didn't really feel the need to, but it does make it a little flimsy. So putting a lock on each end kind of made it all look very nice. So anyway, that's the door, and then let me open this up. Okay, so here's the back side. Yeah, putting these T-handle doors on there is really, really simple. I mean, it comes with a foam insulating gasket that goes all the way around it, and you can use that as a reference for where you want to actually cut the hole. So then I just taped it on here, and then I got a marker and marked out where the hole should go, and then just cut it out and stuck this thing on there, and they're really easy to put on. And then you just I use my combination square to get the distance from the edge and from the bottom, and then transferred it to the other one, and so that they looked like they were the same edge, distance across and up. That worked out pretty good. Yeah, crazy markings. Eventually cover that with paint. Yeah, I put a primer on. You want to put primer on your sheet metal as soon as you can, just to prevent rusting, because it's an ongoing battle with steel. It's always trying to rust. All right, so anyway, here's my box. It's 18 gauge sheet metal. Steel, and it's riveted to angle iron. This is it's an 1/8 of an inch thick angle iron. It's 1 inch by 1 inch, and these are solid steel rivets. These are 1/8 inch diameter rivets. They're solid steel. What else? Okay, so how did I? Oh yeah, and I just throw on some insulation on the edges here, so that when I close it, it makes a bit of a seal. It doesn't actually connect over here, so I might have to throw something up there to keep any rainwater from coming over, but I don't know if that's going to be a real issue. And I have these the spring pistons to assist with lifting the door. It's not too heavy without it, but I mean, you could put, I guess, like a maybe like a chain or something to hold this up to the wall, but I saw somebody do this, and I thought that looked kind of spiffy, so I went with that. All right, so how did I do this? Again, I'm not a welder. I'm not a professional, technician, or fabricator. But I tried to learn from what I saw other people doing on YouTube, and so this is what I did. Basically, you start with your dimensions. You measure, how big you want this thing to be, how much room you have under your bus. How low do you want it to hang? I wanted mine to meet the edge of the bottom of the bus, and really the height of my boxes was based on a generator, which is in that box there, and propane tanks. So I wanted to make sure I had enough height for the generator, and there's also 4-inch PVC pipe from our shower or sink that's going to come in through the top of that box and go into the gray water tank behind it. So we needed a little bit of clearance. So I kind of gave myself a little bit of leeway. Oh yeah, that's another thing too. Don't try to figure to the atom, to the eighth of an inch, any of these dimensions. I mean, behind each box, when you there's a frame under the bus, the chassis that all this rides on. That great big thick, half-inch thick steel frame underneath. I gave myself 2 inches of clearance from those to the back of the box because you need some wiggle room. There's not a team of professional engineers, designing all this stuff. It's just you and your wit and, after work and, whatever free time you have and, whatever experience you have. So give yourself some wiggle room because I'm trying to keep things tight. You're going to, run into all sorts of headaches and make things take 10 times longer. So anyway, all right, so this is what I did. I sketched it out on paper what I want it to look like, and then I got Google SketchUp, which is a free software program on Google you can use to draw make mechanical drawings in 3D that you can rotate around. And those are great because by building those, you can play with designs and you can get an idea of what it's going to look like, and you start to see things that you couldn't imagine before you saw that. It kind of frees up your brain cells to think about other dimensions of the problem. All right, so this angle iron is just I made the bottoms. I cut each one of these at like a 45, and just put the bottom together. And then you have to make sure that cross diagonally they're square. And again, this isn't a tutorial on how to weld or how to fabricate steel boxes, but what you should do is, if you've never done this before, get some material and kind of mock something up on a smaller scale, and learn this basic skills of using metal clamps or miter clamps and miter jigs or whatever to connect 45-degree angles, or however you're going to do it. How to weld with a MIG welder. Again, I mean, I have a MIG welder, no gas, just using a 0.03 inch diameter flux core solid steel wire for welding, and it's kind of like using a glue gun to put all this together. But I mean, there's things to learn. There's plenty of YouTube videos on how to weld. I mean, like when you weld, you're actually making a little pattern circles as you go along an edge, and you have to make sure it's clean. You're in here with your angle grinder to get clean steel, and then you have to ground it. Make sure your ground isn't too far from whatever you're welding, and make sure your weld speed is the speed the wires coming out of the gun is the right speed, so that it can keep up with the melting that's going on. Because really, you're shorting out, you're creating a short, and you're melting the wire. So, but yeah, it's a learning curve. So anyway, I put this. I made the bottom frame, and then I made the top frame, and you can see I flip this so the angle iron goes up here, but in here it flips down so that I had a flat edge all the way around, so that when the door, so I can put this rubber on it and here, and so when I close the door, it made a nice seal. And then after I made the top and the bottom angle iron frame, then I I added the connectors on the the vertical pieces for the top and the bottom, and then made sure that was square. And I took a bunch of C-clamps and a lot of creativity and measuring and going slow and cursing and learning how to use the welder. And again, safety is so important doing all this. Get good leather gloves, good eye protection, a face shield, welding mask, welding jacket, hearing protection. This stuff is really hard on your hands, on your ears, on your eyes. Maybe you're sensitive. I mean, I've been doing a lot of grinding and working with metal and welding and stuff, and I don't know if I don't know how much of the stuff I've inhaled, and if it's going to cause me any problems. I've been okay so far, but anyway. So yeah, after I made the frame, I just need to stand up for a minute. I've been squatting here, my 50-year-old knees. So anyway, you make the frame, and then you rivet on you cut out the sheet metal, and you slap that on there. And I added rivets like every 3 inches, made it look uniform and neat. And then as you put each sheet on, you get your grinder out and you clean up all the edges. And I didn't put any sort of like silicone in between the angle iron and the sheet metal. I wasn't really worried about anything leaking through. I'm going to add silicone to the edges on the outside of the box underneath the bus when all is said and done. What else? Okay. Oh yeah, and these pistons. You can see I just added a simple piece of angle iron that I attached to. And I can't really see on that side too. Let's go over here. I just had a piece of angle iron that I attached to the side here, and then it bends this way, and then they make these little 90-degree bend things here to connect onto your spring pistons. These things here, and you just connected this to there. And these are just number 10 screws. I think they're 3/4 of an inch long, and connected there and there. And what else? Yeah. They connect up there. Make sure I turn. These are turned inward, and these are turned outward. So that because I have to fix that one over there because this one is turned the other way. It's on this side over there, so that when I close it, it presses into here. So I gotta fix that. And you can see I welded on a little piece of angle iron here for the latch to catch the latch. Yeah. Yeah, so this latch, when it closes, it'll catch on here. And on the other box I have, let me just show you real quick, hold on. Alright, so I opened up the other warranty card storage, and you can see that they don't open to the same height because I made a mistake and I didn't connect these on at the same height, so I need to, because there's bolts over here that hold this on, so I need to remedy this so that this is higher, so that both they open up to the same height and they don't look weird. I mean, if I never change it, they're still functional, but it's a little thing I'd like to improve. Anyway, so this is the generator I have on this box, and propane tanks that connect to the generator. And you can see that these are removable because these are on slides and I want them to come out. I tried to build this to go under it, but it just didn't work out so well. I needed something a lot taller because with these latches, if you're catching very very low down, then it's kind of, you can feel it that when you pull on the handle, it feels like it moves, or the door kind of like flexes a little bit. So I made the latch a lot higher, and it seemed to give it a more solid feel. But then also I thought I'd show you this. So I took the latches off of that one, and yeah, the generator went back up a little bit. So the generator slides out, and so does the propane tank. And these are just I think these are rated these are draw slides. They're rated for 130 pounds together. This is the generator weighs 80 pounds by itself, and then these are, I think, fully extended 2 feet. I think that's what they're rated for. So yeah, and these are just attached to. So out here, this is just a piece of 1 inch by 1 inch angle iron that I screwed onto here from underneath, and then I have some screws that attach the draw slide through the angle iron into the wood, and then this is a 2 inch by 2 inch angle iron here, and then I have actually solid rivets attaching the draw slide to the angle iron. And then I don't have a lot of light on there, but there's just 1/4 inch bolts going through the floor of the 2 inch angle iron through the floor. And then you can see basically these are threaded rods. These are 3/8 inch threaded rods that go through the ceiling of the bus, or the floor of the bus, down to square tubing. It's steel square tubing. It's 1 inch by 1 inch, and there's nuts and split washers on the floor of the bus, and then under the floor of the bus, and then on the top and the bottom of the square tubing where it connects. And then I started to use the red Loctite to lock everything up, but it just got really messy to keep going back and forth between the Loctite and the hardware. So I just stopped using the Loctite altogether. But I'm going to go back through and use green Loctite 290, which is made for applying Loctite to assemblages. Instead of applying it before you assemble it, you apply it after the thing is completely put together, and it's supposed to actually wick in through the threads into the nuts after it's been all put together. So that's the plan. But for the ones on the top that go through the ceiling, I'm actually thinking about putting a spot weld on each one of those, because I just don't trust it. Because I guess I don't have the experience yet. But that's my gray tank. We have 2 of them, 230 gallon gray tanks, and you can see that there's similar thing with threaded rods and square tubing. And for the size of the tank, I went overboard on the the square tubing and threaded rods. I mean, each one, a 3/8 inch threaded rod, each one of those is rated for 600 pounds, each one by itself. So this is completely overboard. I don't know, learn as you go. So anyway, that's pretty much everything about these boxes and how I made them and all the parts that I used. And what else? Oh yeah, there's one more thing. I created these brackets that I connected on the outside of the box that are connected from top to bottom, and that's what actually this part is right here. And then I put an additional extension on those, on the thread, on that angle iron, to actually, so I could put these bolts in through the face into the bracket. I'm calling it a bracket, so I could pull the entire box into the face of the bus. And yeah, that's what these are here. These attach to that angle iron. So it's a piece of angle iron. It runs the length of the box, and it kind of comes this way and then out that way. And then I welded on like this 2-inch piece of angle iron extension on 4 different places here. And so what happened? Yeah, that just allowed me to cut this, the size of this opening a little bit bigger than the box, so that I made each box a 1/2 inch, narrower than the cutout, so that I could slide each box in. And then and then this angle iron kind of took up the difference if I made any mistakes, because I'm not perfect, I'm not a professional. And this is all 1/4 inch hardware. These are I think 3/4. Yeah, these are 3/4 of an inch. And yeah, they slide through. And actually, on this side, when I put the box together, it was not completely square, and it really showed over here. There was like a 1/2 inch gap, but I put these nuts in, and they just pulled the box into the face. And I know that it must have warped something a little bit. I have no idea, because it looks pretty damn square to me. And it didn't make any cracking noises. And oh yeah, that's something else too I noticed about this learning curve about welding these frames together. I did kind of a shitty job on some of these, because somewhere along the way the voltage switched over from maximum to minimum, and it wasn't really welding properly. So I have some really ugly looking welds that you can't see because it's painted black. And then I went back and fixed some of them, but it's not hugely important. The main thing was to hold the frame together square enough, well, as square as you can, so that then you could apply the sheet metal, and then all these rivets on the sheet metal every 3 inches all the way around it on every surface, made the box sturdy, and it's not going to wiggle around or anything. But it's not really load bearing, and that's kind of why I went with the tubing underneath, because I'm a new welder, and I just don't trust my welds enough to put a load on it. I don't even know if that would work well. Some people do it, but I don't know. It seems kind of insane to me. But to each their own. So that's why I have the square tubing underneath, and so my welds aren't really that important. But it was helpful to give me the right shape, and then the rivets around the welds. And I used solid rivets rather than pop rivets, because I just think they look cleaner, and you don't have to have these ugly pop rivets on the back of it. Gives you a little more room. They do take up a 1/2 inch all the way around, or whatever that is, maybe a 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch. I don't know. I just thought this looked cleaner. And then yeah, and then the whole entire box, I just moved it in there, and it sits on top of the square tubing, and that's lifted up by the threaded rods, and that it's held into the ceiling, and it's also connected on the face. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions, let me know. I hope this was helpful. Please be kind on my video production level of video production. I'm not a professional in any way. I think I put that in the disclaimer. So anyway, enjoy.